Welcome back to the Griswold method, where we're taking a little bit of a turn, a little left turn, if you will. For the past several episodes, it's been all about motivation, headspace, what am I doing, what am I reading, and that's cool. But I think that you guys deserve more than what is Matt reading and what is he thinking about. And so I brought someone who I value her opinion, I value what she's doing, and this is Seeley. But more than I value that, let me just tell you, let me give you a couple of her accolades here. She's been seen, she does have a TED Talk, Wages to Wealth, correct?
Yep.
Good Morning America, The Today Show, Forbes, the list, let me see, what else did I see there? Huffington Post, Entrepreneurial Magazine, Yahoo News. I mean, and I got just some of the things. So when I said I got somebody that's important to talk to, if you're an entrepreneur and you are in the coaching space, if you're an entrepreneur or you're just a human that wants to be motivated, this is what she does times XXX. And so I feel lucky to be able to have you. I hope that was a good introduction and you felt like I ramped you up there.
Yes, thank you.
She is taking some time out of her day for me to shoot this because last week, what were we at last week? What was last week? Last Saturday, there was that's right. Last Saturday.
I got married. Surprise.
She did. So a really cool experience. We were invited to a reception, which was actually a wedding, and nobody knew. There was lots of jaws dropped. We moved furniture, and there it was.
My parents literally found out the night before. They didn't even know.
I think that. I'd never heard of that before. And I mean, to be transparent, I had not done a lot of wedding research prior to that. So I was totally shocked. So I had never seen that before.
I definitely embrace the idea of being a black sheep.
Yeah.
Kind of in all areas of my life. And so everyone that I've talked to that knows me is like, of course you guys had a non-traditional like surprise wedding. Mm-hmm. Like that's so on brand for the two of you. Yeah. So yeah, just, doing things different, left, right, and center.
I will tell you that, and I think that for me, when I hear somebody say how authentic I was to them, it's always valuable to me. And I will tell you, as I worked through the crowd, that's what everyone was saying. Of course she did. What did you expect? And it was one of those things. So I think that let that be of value to you, because my perspective to that was people knew you and expected something from you, and you delivered on that. And I appreciated that. Like, I thought that was a really cool thing.
Thank you.
So what we're doing now is that with the podcast, I'm trying to interview people that are in Tulsa, that are in service, that are in health service, whether it's mental, spiritual, physical. And so you do coaching, life coaching, entrepreneurial coaching, self-awakening coaching, all of those things. Tell me a little bit more about what you're doing and what your prime focus is.
What I've realized, really, I've been in this particular business for 10 years and I've been an entrepreneur since 2007, is that one of my superpowers is making big things happen. I don't know why or when it started, but I have done it. I went back and looked. I've done it all my life. I moved to Italy when I was 20 without knowing a single person or the language. I've relocated all over the world. Yeah. I just do things that most people hold themselves back from doing. And so I firmly believe in the liberation of human beings. I tend to work with a lot of women, but anyone. And so in looking at what my superpower was, it's like, okay, how does that then translate to other people? Mm-hmm. So my job title is basically a success coach or a success activator. And I essentially help people, one, to define what success means to them. Because I think for far too long, we've all just had a very narrow definition of success that has been given to us. And then we eliminate doubts. And then we meet our future selves. And then we take action and we become them. And that's kind of my signature process for everything, whether you're a business owner, whether you're looking to get a new job, whether you're looking to, whatever it is, I help individuals defy reality. And so I'm able to do that because I've done it in my life and my journey for so long. I've reinvented myself many, 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 many times. And it's my duty to help others do the same.
I like the idea of having a process and a plan. By trade, I'm a chiropractor, and I think that a chiropractor should have a process and a plan. What are we doing? Why are we doing it? What should we expect at the end of that? I love that that's how you broke that down. I think that what I had in my notes and my biggest question, and this actually, I think, not just for you, but even for some of your clients, what do you believe is the activation energy to push someone over, or what was it for you? And maybe it's better for you to speak on your own. And what I mean by activation energy is we know for a fact that 471 is exactly what it takes to make fire happen, not 469 or too high, or even 450. It's not going to get close, but there's a combustion point, activation energy. The water boils at 212, not 202. For you or for your clients, what do you think that is that activation energy for you?
So I did this exercise for myself in 2016, and it literally helped me to make my first six figures in 90 days. And I do this for all my clients. In fact, I literally just caught up with a past client this week on Wednesday night, and she said, there was one exercise you led me through. And she's like, that exercise changed my life. And this was 3 years ago. I haven't talked to her in several years. And it was helping people to become their future selves. So oftentimes when I ask someone to envision their future self, they see them outside of themselves as if they were watching a movie or something, right? When we see something as separate from ourselves, it's very hard to then be it, because it's not, they're two separate entities.
I get that.
And so what I did for myself in 2016, I now have a hypnosis, a meditation, all these things to help others do it, is this idea of becoming your future self. So how do you stand in their skin? How does it feel? What's their posture? How can you embody their posture? What do they wear? How do they speak? How do they think? What do they believe? The more that we can do those things in the present moment, then our future self isn't in the future. They're not separate from us. They are us. And so for me, that was a huge activation. I did the meditation. I became my future self. I did $100,000 in sales in 90 days. It really was the thing that kind of kickstarted me to the next level. And I've never gone back from there. And then also, like I said, even if my clients are I don't know what this means. This woman told me on Wednesday, she said, I saw this future self. I I was her. And she's I had no idea what that meant. And I had no idea how to take that and become her. Yeah. And 3 years later, she just left her home in Michigan. She's moved to San Diego. She's rocking her business. All these things are happening as a result of her having that activation moment, like you just said.
I love the fact that you can pinpoint it and say, I never looked back from there, because that's what activation should have done, right? Once the fire starts, then that really doesn't go out as long as there's enough fuel and you're able to support it with enough fuel. So in that, I guess in the same realm of activation energy, from an entrepreneurial aspect, I'd like to have 2 questions here for you. Question 1 would be from the physical, right? Because if you're going to do the things you want to do, be the person you want to be, there's 2 people that I think are 2 major things that have to show up. The physical person and the spiritual person, right? Spiritual or emotional, you could probably bundle those in together, or we could separate it if you'd like, depending on time and answers. What would you say for your activation energy? What did it take for you to be able to say, on the physical side, this is the things that I need to do so that I can be that person in the future, or to be the person that's now? What does that look like?
So some of the things, I don't feel like I had a physical element to mine, at least not immediately, but some of the things that my clients have done, one of my women, her future self only wore white. And so she started switching out. She didn't just toss all of her clothes, but she started integrating more white into her wardrobe.
And then
and then kind of shedding some of the non-white items in her wardrobe. A woman that I know, she came out of it and she goes, my future self wasn't blonde. And so she started the transition of darkening up her hair color. Her hair is now fully dark. So there's little things that we can do to manipulate our physical environment to support what we know is true for our future self. One of the exercises I like encouraging my clients to do, I call it live as if. So when we're kids and we want to be a doctor.
Yeah.
What do?
Play doctor.
We throw a stethoscope around our neck and voila, we are a doctor. We want to be a princess. We put on a crown, tiara, or a ballerina, tutu, whatever. We stopped doing that as adults. If you want to be a digital nomad, stop waiting for the minute that you're a digital nomad and go bring your laptop to the hotel lobby of the hotel in your town and live as if you're a digital nomad, right? So I think that there's lots of fun ways that we can like play.
I love that.
Well before I met Jordan, one of my girlfriends, she was there, Jessica Day, came to visit me in LA, and I said, I'm so ready to meet my person. And she said, well, if you want to know what it's like to get married, we need to go practice what it's like for you to be engaged. And she took me ring shopping in downtown LA. I still have the photo on my phone. And she was the best wing woman. She said, I am her best friend, and her boyfriend told me, I was single at the time, told me that I needed to take her ring shopping so that he knew exactly what to get her. So we're here. And she played the role the entire time. She never broke character once. And so then what the cool part is, the sales associate had no idea that that wasn't my reality.
Right.
And so I got to live into that reality in that moment in a way that was lovely. Now, it took several years. I know why. It was a process. Did not meet Jordan when I was living in LA, had to get back to Minnesota and then New York and then back to Minnesota and then here, whatever, it's fine. But those are some of the things that I love doing and playing with to like manipulate my physical reality so that I can feel into as if I am my future self in this moment.
And it's also signaling to the universe or the powers that be, whatever that is for you, that you are ready to be that person. So when you I believe, like if you're putting that energy, I'm going to change the clothes, I'm going to change the hair, I'm going to, for a day, play engaged, I'm signaling to the universe that I do have what it takes and I'm ready to receive those things. And I am in full 150% agreement with that.
Well, and it's so fun too. When did we stop having fun and getting so serious as adults?
I like to play dress up. Like that sounds like a good time.
Right?
I don't think I'd ever conceptualized it as that. Like I've done some of the meditative work, and I've done a lot of future casting, making decisions from the person that I am, but I don't think I've ever gone as far out to say that I role played it per se. I love that idea, and I think it's a great coaching. You guys just got a bonus tip. She probably should charge you for that. I do though. I love that idea. What would you say that are the things that you do that ironclad you? Because when you're a leader of people, I run a practice that's busy. You run a busy coaching practice, and I've been able to see that flourish since you've been working with me here at the office, and I've heard how much more stuff you're doing, all the things. What are the ironclads that you use? Because one of the ways I'd like to use this platform is to say, Bree said that she had these few hacks that she used that really put her in state to receive and to be used correctly as she shows up in her space. What would, and I know I'm catching you off guard here, just give me a couple.
One of the big ones is boundaries. I am very protective of my time and energy. So one of the first things that I did back before I started this business, I must have done it in like 2014, I get 0 notifications on my phone.
Love that.
0. My phone is on Do Not Disturb more than it's on.
Mine was off that. You saw me flip it over during the podcast, like, oh snap. So yeah.
And I'm lucky too because like I have a Mac too, so like I turn it on DND here or there, and it all like everything just shuts off. I don't get any rings or dings from Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, WhatsApp, Fox. I get emails. Absolutely
It's
not.
on your time. You get to decide when you flip it on.
Because when I had my fashion label, I had all the dings on, and I'd be doing something and then I'd get distracted and then I'd have to come back. And as someone who I've recently learned is blessed with ADHD, it takes me more time to get back into what I was doing than it does to go do the thing, right? So I protect my time and my focus and my energy so much. I say no so much. I've had people reach out for like coffees and stuff the last few weeks, and I'm like, I'm literally getting married and running a women's conference in the next 4 weeks. Like, no, you're welcome to reach out to me in January, but like, I don't have capacity for that. And some people take it personally, which I can't take responsibility
Sure.
for, but I'm like, I'm not saying no to meeting with you. I'm saying, can you follow up with me another time? So boundaries is a big one. I do not get on my phone or to work or any of that stuff ever before 9 a.m. Ever.
9 a.m. start, hard start, right?
Yeah. Integrate that into your hours here. No, I'm just kidding. Don't, because I come see you before
During
9 a.m.
that time, I'm in your slot. Got it.
So I'm very protective of my time and energy
Sure.
because I know that like I am my business. My energy is my business. It's what I sell. And if I'm not protective of that, then I can't serve my clients and I can't, like you said, be used in the ways that I'm meant to be here on this planet. So
can I pause you there for a
Yeah.
second? Because I want you to catch that point. So I want to reiterate that because it doesn't matter where you are, if you're in coaching, if you're in healthcare, if you're a stay-at-home mom, doesn't matter. You are your product and you are your energy. That's exactly what she said. I didn't want to get you off topic, but
Yeah.
the boundaries that she's placed allow her to show up as her best self in the role that she's playing. I think that's a valuable tip because that allows her energy is her product. My energy is my product. So I'm
Yeah.
sorry, but I wanted to highlight that.
No, and I mean, I just think boundaries in general, part of the reason we had a surprise wedding is I was like, I don't want anyone's opinions
I like that.
about what we're doing. And so if we just don't tell them what we're doing,
It's all your choices.
we just don't get their opinions, right?
I love that.
So I'm just like, I'm very clear too about where the separation is between like what's mine and what's not mine. And I'm willing to take responsibility for what's mine, but not for what's not mine.
Yeah.
And so a lot of that comes down to also like all the other boundaries I mentioned. So I think that's a big one. And then other things practically, tactically, I have a very strict diet, unfortunately not by choice. And in order for me to show up well, I have to keep myself healthy. I come see you every 2 weeks, although right now it might be coming more because I've mysteriously injured myself. I meditate on a regular basis by myself, and I'm part of a meditation group here in town. What else? I am very adamant about having quality time with the pets and now the husband too. Even when he was a fiance and a boyfriend, we always had quality time. We have date night every Tuesday night, non-negotiably. It's in the calendar for the rest of time. Like it just is what it is. I read a lot of fiction books, which is odd in our industry because everyone's like, oh, have you read the new like self-development book, blah, blah. And I'm like, I just got away from enjoying the journey. And so I read a lot of like fantasy novels and just like young adult fun, easy things that like take my mind off of the stresses and the pressures of everything else in my life and business. So
I think what I just heard you lay out was your path to what you would call your version of happiness. And I think that for me, as times change, and it's reallocatable. And I don't even know if that's a word, right? Is that a word? Allocatable? Maybe the able part not. But
well,
you
I
can
love,
reallocate it.
or like redefine, right?
Love
so
that.
like so much of what I do with people too is like in that definition of success that I mentioned earlier, it's not static.
Yep.
Like I'm in an entirely new era in my life now than I was 3 years ago before I met Jordan.
Right.
So my priorities did have to reallocate or be redefined because I can't operate now the way I operated when I was single. I worked 7 days a week when I was single because I had nothing better to do. Not how life looks today because I have other priorities.
But you defined happiness and then you reworked it from there back into all of the other things, right? The must-dos versus the happiness. And I think that a lot of times the must-dos get stacked up so much that there's a little piece left for happiness. But what you just described in your perfect work week or your perfect day, essentially, is how you can back in all the things that take care of you and what does that yield at the end there.
So I'm going to say something, and I'm just going to say to the listeners, pay attention to how you feel when I say this, because if you get triggered by this, it is a brilliant, brilliant invitation for you. One of the things that I firmly live by is me first. And there's so much messaging out there that's like, don't be selfish, don't be selfish, don't be selfish. And I'm like, but if you're not being selfish, if you're not taking care of you, who is.
Or who will.
Exactly. And I'm like, I even look, at Jordan, I'm like, it's not his responsibility to take care of me. It's his responsibility to take care of himself.
Sure.
I take care of me.
Yeah.
And if I'm not taking care of me, and if I'm putting all these other people and things and stuff, jobs, careers, businesses, relationships, whatever, before me, what? Like you said, then my happiness is just this much of the pie. Mm-hmm. And then what? I'm not feeling great in my life. And then what's the point?
Yep. Here's what I got. You might want to work with her. She's going to tell you how you can do that. I hope that served you guys so much, because I got notes. I wrote stuff down. I did that on purpose. This is my personal journal. So, but as I do these podcasts and I get the opportunity to sit with people that are smarter than me, hopefully this affects you, and you can take some things from what she just talked about. Bree, how can somebody work with you, and what would that look like?
The best way is to visit my website, breeseeley.com. Depending on when you visit, I have some new things coming out. I have a quiz coming out to say, like, where do you even start with me? Lots of options. I do have a free community. I also have a podcast called Big Goal Energy if you want to just hear more from me. You can always email me and my assistant, Bree at breeseeley.com. I'm sure the spellings will all be wherever you find this. And I have lots of options. I have groups. Like I said, I have a community. I have private. I have VIP days. There's very robust options depending on where you're at and what your goals are. I don't necessarily, not all of them are for everyone. And so I think it depends more on like what you need and where you're at to tell you what the best fit would be.
Lots of coaches out there. That's the industry, kind of the hook right now. But to have coaches that have success and credentials is important. And that's why I open the way I open with all the things that she's done. So if you are looking for some coaching, entrepreneurial, spiritual, really being the best self, what I love about that, it's been a part of her life since you heard it. But when she said, I moved to Italy when I was 20, starting this journey, you get the benefit of all those things. And so thanks for checking us out, and the Griswold Method. Shoot you next time.